Discipline doesn't feel impossible because you're lazy. It feels impossible because your brain no longer trusts you. Think about that for a second. How many times have you told yourself, "Tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow I'll wake up early. Tomorrow I'll get serious"? And how many times did tomorrow arrive only for nothing to change? At first, it doesn't seem like a big deal. You skip one workout, delay one study session, break one promise, but your brain is always watching, always collecting evidence. Every promise you keep becomes evidence that you can be trusted. Every promise you break becomes evidence that you can't. And eventually, your brain reaches a conclusion. This person doesn't do what they say. That's when discipline starts feeling impossible. Not because you're incapable, but because you've trained yourself not to believe your own words. Most people think discipline is a battle against laziness. It isn't. It's a battle against instant gratification. Every notification, every scroll, every short video gives your brain an immediate reward. The more you feed it instant rewards, the harder it becomes to work for delayed ones. That's why scrolling feels easy, but studying feels exhausting. That's why watching videos for hours feels natural, but 30 minutes of focused work feels painful. The problem isn't the task. The problem is what your brain has become accustomed to. You've trained it to expect stimulation constantly, and discipline requires the exact opposite. Discipline requires discomfort, repetition, patience, and consistency. Things that don't feel rewarding in the moment. This is where most people quit. Not because they lack potential, but because they mistake discomfort for a sign to stop. The moment something feels difficult, they retreat. The moment something feels boring, they escape. The moment progress becomes invisible, they give up. But the people you admire do something different. They stop treating feelings like commands. When they feel tired, they still show up. When they feel unmotivated, they still show up. When they doubt themselves, they still show up. Not because they enjoy it, but because they understand a powerful truth. Feelings are temporary. Standards are permanent. If your actions depend on how you feel, your results will always be inconsistent. But when your actions depend on a standard you've set for yourself, everything changes. You stop negotiating. You stop waiting. You stop asking yourself whether you feel like doing the work. You simply do what needs to be done. And every time you do, something important happens. You rebuild trust. One promise kept. One small victory. One piece of evidence. At first, the changes are invisible. Nobody notices. Not even you. But your brain notices. It sees the workout you almost skipped, the page you almost didn't read, and the task you almost postponed. Slowly, it begins updating its conclusion. Maybe this person can be trusted. Maybe this person follows through. Maybe this person is changing. That's how discipline is built. Not through motivation, not through massive transformations, through small promises kept consistently, again and again, until discipline is no longer something you force. It becomes part of who you are. One day, you'll wake up and realize that the things that once felt impossible now feel normal. Getting up early, doing the work, keeping your word. Not because life became easier, not because motivation finally arrived, but because you've become someone who trusts themselves. And once you have that, discipline stops feeling impossible. It becomes inevitable, because the strongest person in the room isn't the smartest, the most talented, or the most motivated. It's the person who can trust their own word. Become that person, and everything changes.